Disclaimer: I am not a licensed therapist or a clinical psychologist. I am only an amateur YouTuber with a bit too much time on my hands. Everything I say in this video regarding the psychological state of anyone's character is simply a speculation based on the evidence I'll be providing in the video. Thank you.
It's always the nicest people that give you the meanest stab in the back. It's always the shyest people that bite the hardest. Let me put it to you this way. There's a shy person that you meet, and they come off nice enough. You have conversations with them, spend time with them, and in some time you guys manage to get very close. They try their best to get into your circle. They get acquainted with your friends, your family, possible significant other, and at a moment's notice, come back out to pop the bubble that you so carefully crafted over the many years that you've been alive. Your trust is now significantly broken, and you're putting into question every single person who you've come to trust, because if this person, who you let in so close, could burn you that much, then who else will? This story definitely doesn't apply to every single nice and friendly person out there, but I think it applies to this particular story right here. A story which involves a lot of characters, and a lot of conflicts, a lot of money worms, and a lot of innocent people caught in the crossfire. Starting off as a seed of drama, it has managed to sprout into a full and extensive story arc. An arc full of lies, manipulation, and lots of screaming.
Anna, you are actually insane. Why do you think that you're in the right, or that you have to carry on this crusade indefinitely?
Then why were you so interested in me for so long, Steven? You were always so difficult to compromise with.
Stephen Bonnell II, otherwise known as Destiny, is a streamer with hundreds of thousands of followers throughout all of his platforms, streaming gaming content all the way back since 2011 on Twitch. However, since 2016, he started to become a controversial figure in the political commentary community, interacting with all sorts of people like Hassan Piker, Vosh, Tim Pool, and really any known or unknown figure with whom he takes an interest in. And in the time he'd been doing politics on Twitch, he built a bit of a reputation for himself as a titan of Twitch commentary, getting into pretty heated feuds and falling outs with many notable figures.
Everything I said about Biden is true, you fucking idiots! Fuck! What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little
idiot. A 19-year-old girl can love you.
Degenerate.
Whoa.
Or Destiny, you're a stupid fat.
Whoa!
Enter Anafrills, a psychology student and therapist in training who decided to get on stream with Destiny for a conversation about open relationships and dark, deep-rooted psychological issues. They managed to have a pretty amicable and nice conversation, especially considering that this was one of, if not their first, online interaction to date. They even managed to get into a bit of a personal conversation regarding Destiny's romantic life, and I feel like there's no better time than now to explain exactly what that relationship looks like. Destiny is in a polyamorous/open relationship with another person named Melina, which for those of you who might not already be aware of, means that they both have the liberty of having sexual interactions outside of only each other, instead being more focused on the emotional commitment. Announcing a relationship like this into the public is already a controversial move, considering that you'd almost immediately receive a bit of backlash from people who feel as if they understand the intricacies of your personal life. But the fact that it was a figure like Destiny who made this relationship public made it all the more controversial.
I think broadly speaking, you've got like polyamorous relationships and you've got like open relationships where polyamorous is like, oh, I've got like 3 different girlfriends and we all hang out or sometimes even live together, or 3 boyfriends, whatever. And then you've got like open relationships, which is like, oh, you know, like you can basically hook up with other people, and then you've got like your main relationship and that's it. I think ours is probably somewhere in the middle of that.
Both of them are massive cucks. Massive cucks.
Don't you let other people
I want to
fuck
see
your
some.
girlfriend?
I gotta stick
Yeah,
up.
dude, why don't you call someone a cuck if you let people fuck your girlfriend?
I don't
I
understand.
don't let them go. I don't date them. The chicks that I'm banging, I don't date them. Let them live under my roof and then go blow random dudes on the internet because I don't date e-thoughts like you.
I'm in a poly relationship. The reason why I'm in a poly relationship is because I don't give a fuck if my girlfriend goes and fucks another guy, because I know she's coming back to me at the end of the night. Because we love each other. Because I'm a cool fucking person. I know that. If I'm not gonna gatekeep the fuck out of who my girlfriend fucks, do you think I'm gonna chase you around?
Pretty much every aspect about his romantic life has been put under scrutiny by anybody and everybody who hates him. And to be frank, he has a lot of enemies. A guy like him has to spend a lot of his time squabbling with both big names and internet nobodies. He's admitted that a lot of the time it's fun to just stir the shit up and simultaneously make other people look stupid. But he is a person after all, and people have their limits. Even a skilled debater like Destiny, who doesn't mind constantly getting in the mud, does have his moments where he gets tired of the constant personal berating.
One of the things that's like kind of weird in terms of like me and Melina doing the open relationship thing is that like guys usually there's so many like random things that go into like sexual relationships. Hold on, I don't want to like cover like every piece of ground. One thing that's weird though is that like if Melina gets with like another Twitch streamer, it's gonna feel like really weird. Like I wonder if people, I'm trying to think. I wonder if there are guys that would try to fuck Melina to like get one over on me, which feels like really gross. Would you really care? I mean, it's not so much whether or not I would care. Like, I don't think I would care, but it would be annoying that, like, it's kind of like, I don't really give a fuck if people call me short. 1, because I don't think I'm that short in real life, and 2, it's just not something I care that much about. But, it's annoying when I'm in calls with people that just call me short over and over again. Like, when I talk to Greek, right? Like, every insult Greek has on me is like, you're short, you're short, you're short. And it's like, okay. Like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to say to that. So it would be like something similar to that, where if like some guys in chat can be like, oh, I got, I tried to fuck your girl, and it's like, okay, like I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like people like to wheel it out like it's some big own, and I don't. There's nothing really I can say to it. I just don't really care that much,
I think he does care. I think it's okay to care. But on the internet, it's pretty hard to admit. So, occasionally, he steps back from having the constant 1v3s, 1v4s, and 1v5s to have a nice, calm, relaxing conversation with someone who isn't exactly so harsh on his personal beliefs. Someone who might not exactly agree with every aspect of his life, but can at least express their issues and concerns in a civil manner. And that's what this conversation with Anna was supposed to be. 2 normal people having a human conversation with each other. No drama, no bullshit, no nothing.
Hello, hey, how's it going?
Hi. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yep. Sounds loud and kind of clear, but yeah, I can hear you pretty well.
It was honestly interesting to see a change from everything. Watching a fierce confrontation is fun and all, but it gets exhausting, even as a viewer. And not to say that Destiny doesn't ever have friendly conversations, but when they do happen, it's nice. However, while this conversation seemed to come off nice and peachy enough, there was something that was a little bit off about it. Something that was very interesting to take note of. As mentioned previously, Anna is a psych graduate and therapist in training, which to an outside viewer may seem to give her a bit of a subconscious authority over the conversation. What I mean by this is, it came off that she was trying to use her credentials as a way to invalidate Destiny's relationship, while also going out of her way to subtly judge and make indirect diagnoses of him.
Do you know what the Dark Triad is?
I'm gonna guess it has something to do with antisocial behavior or something?
Yes. Yeah, it's like quote-unquote normal, but like kind of also not quite normal. Like, they're referred to as like predatory personalities, essentially. And it consists of subclinical narcissism, subclinical psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. So, yeah, it's just interesting because you got these personalities, and they're correlated with having an unrestricted sociosexual orientation. I just think that could indicate quite a bit. You know what's interesting though? What I found interesting, which kind of surprised me about this, is this is a quote. So the higher scores on sociosexuality, so like greater sexual permissiveness, was associated with greater distress to partners' sexual infidelity. But like that's another area that's like, okay, interesting. The more unrestricted you are in sociosexuality, the more distressed you're going to be if you find out like your partner's been cheating, sexually, not like emotional cheating anyway. Like I'm not making any causal claims because obviously you can't.
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, I would say that like when you say something's indicative of something, you're kind of like insinuating a causal claim there, right?
Well, am I? I think it's indicative that that people who are more unrestricted tend to be just not as healthy psychologically.
Yeah, but you're saying that they're not as healthy psychologically because of that, right? Which is a causal claim. You're saying that their sexual behavior causes them to have a lack in health.
Anyways, this happened in just their first conversation alone. And it's not just me who caught this strange way of conversating. Other people in chat caught it too. Anna just barely opening the door to give a criticism, but not saying it outright and just vaguely suggesting it. What might have come off as a calm and collected talk started to turn into subtly judgmental jabs from Anna. But it wasn't just their first conversation where this happened. It happened in almost every public conversation they've had. Their talk about altruism and egoism, their lost conversation about defund the police, and a stream where they talk more about the dark triad. But Destiny's not blind to this. In fact, he takes full note of it. However, considering that it's some of their earliest interactions, and also how nervous Anna gets when on stream with him, maybe it just came out wrong. Maybe she didn't mean it like that. Maybe he's being a bit judgmental himself. So for the sake of their internet friendship, why make a bigger deal out of something when you're not so sure of the person's intentions? After all, it's not a very healthy mindset to be paranoid and think everyone's out to get you. He can't be so quick to burn a bridge for every little thing that comes his way. Right? His other talks were about as nice as this one, and the more they began to talk, the more evident it became that Anna had her own set way of living that was very different from Destiny's. She's a college graduate, he's a college dropout. She's very emotional, he's very logical. She's an average girl, and he plays League. It's like a cardinal sin. But all in all, their friendship was growing, and even despite these odd conversations they were having with each other, their friendship was going well. Their trust was starting to build, and like all developing friendships, they were getting closer and closer the more they spoke with each other. However, as good as a friendship may be going with someone initially, if your first conversation was already based in judgment, it'll only be so long before a judgy personality trait like that comes to bite both of you guys in the ass. And that's exactly what happened. On August the 8th of 2020, Destiny and Anna had a conversation on stream about dark triads, serial killers, and a bit of a personal talk about the dynamics of their friendship. By this point in time, Destiny's community had become fairly acquainted with what Anna was about, and they had their own convictions about how she came off in her rhetoric. Some were far more charitable, suggesting that she might just be a bit camera shy, and because of that, her points might not come across in the best formulated way possible. However, most, and I mean most, were far more cynical, with them suggesting, no, this isn't a stumbling of her words. This isn't a little oopsie that she has in her language. She actually means what she's saying. But with that being said, there's no 100% way we can be so sure about either thing. Maybe she's a malicious person, or maybe she has stage fright. So the only way we can find out is by having a conversation about it. This stream started off about as calmly as the rest of their conversations have gone. A bit of chit-chat, a bit of banter, before finally getting into the topics they had discussed previously. They decided to start off by talking about serial killers, with Destiny and Anna arguing about the motivations of serial killers, and what types of people would be classified as serial killers. But something that I find interesting about this part of the stream was Anna associating every serial killer to be motivated by some sort of sexual dominance, and insinuating that the viewing of pornography is the causal factor in the creation of serial killers. The more the stream goes on, the more she starts to slam herself into a wall. It's like she says one thing, and then another thing, and then when she can't back up the first thing, she goes into the second thing, and then when she can't back up the second thing, she goes into the third thing, and then when she can't back up, it just goes on forever. It's one massive loop.
Do you not understand that I'm mentally ill?
A bit of a rocky start to the conversation, but it doesn't stop there. They then move on to the topic of paraphilias, which for those of you who don't know, is roughly defined by the sexual arousal and gratification of otherwise non-socially acceptable or extreme acts. Some of these may include voyeurism, sadism, and masochism. However, while going on this little tangent of the main conversation, Anna goes on to insinuate that all paraphilias are disorders. Now, there is a bit of a conversation to be had about there being particular paraphilias falling under a more dangerous category, but this label that Anna puts over everything is shocking to hear from a supposed psych graduate who's supposed to be in a therapy setting with their own patients soon.
Can't wait to diagnose people with kinks. Oh boy.
Don't think that's part of your job as a therapist ever, is gonna be diagnosing kinks, but unless you want to be a sex therapist.
Really? Do you want me to list all the fetishes that are disorders in the DSM?
Well, first of all, I don't know if a deviancy is considered a disorder, right?
You know, they are considered disorders.
Are you sure?
I will get my DSM right now for you, sir.
I see an interesting pattern forming here. Let's see if you can catch on to it the more you watch.
So if you have someone who's secure and someone who's like got dismissive avoidant, well, like the dismissive avoidant person, like they're gonna perceive like the secure person as like being okay with like control. Like they perceive exclusivity in like marriage and commitment as control essentially, and as like negative. It's like a negative thing. They can't even imagine they can't fucking imagine how like someone could be married and like not be like
or something, right?
Yeah, like not exclusive and like want to go with other people and like not be emotionally committed and like emotionally interdependent with that person, basically.
Sure, but again, these are all like generalizations, right? It could theoretically work the other way around. Right?
But don't worry, it gets worse. As the talk goes on, the judgments get more and more evident. In the beginning, when they started talking, there were only subtle jabs about Destiny's way of living and vague assumptions made about the way people behave. But eventually, the subtleness started to go away. And it makes you think, is this intentional? I mean, come on, dude. How dense can someone be to pretend like they're not totally shitting on somebody else?
Oh, well, I wasn't saying it directly.
Kill yourself. Yeah, I know. You people exist out there. Don't try and hide. I can see all of you. Why would you even subtly suggest to a friend, or really anyone in general who you're talking with, that they have a remotely negative trait nonchalantly in the middle of a conversation? That'd be like me in a meeting at work politely suggesting that my boss is greedy because he runs a business. But just like in this example, and the example I gave previously, it's pretty obvious to catch a diss that's coming at you. Subtle or not, our brains are geared to sniff out anything that could even kind of resemble an insult. And so, you have an option of doing one of two things. You could either, 1, ignore it and let it slide because you think they didn't mean it or don't have the confidence to confront the person. Or 2, you confront them and let them know that what they're doing is not right. And finally, it all came to a head when Destiny has enough of the subtle berating.
It's also true that like I talk about issues that probably affect you.
Okay, hold on. Now you're actually doing it. Now you're unironically doing it, okay?
Wait, doing what?
You're making an assumption that I'm having an emotional response based upon some preconceived like diagnosis you've constructed in your head of me.
I don't have a diagnosis of you.
So right now, rather than engaging with the content of my actions, it feels like you think you've discerned like a pattern in my head, and you're trying to tell me that I'm reacting in a way that you understand that I'm not even capable of perceiving.
Imagine you're having a fight with a friend, and you tell them that you got hurt by something they said. And they say, well, I don't think I hurt you. Imagine that, but for 3 hours. This stream was, fucking slugfest. Entertaining, but oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. The more time this conversation went on, I felt like I was dragging my balls through a pile of glass shards. Over and over and over and over again, this conversation went down the most semantic way possible. And it became 3 hours worth of, hey, what you said is kind of fucked up. Well, I feel like you're misinterpreting what I'm saying, and I feel like I always have to walk on eggshells, and I feel like you're really abusive, and you should have put the blame on— Oh my god. Stop it. Please.
Are you feeling anxious?
Fuck you, whoever you are. I hate you.
Chat, what do you think?
But also, I consider it to be boundary violations, like, for you to assume all these things about me, and, like, assuming, like, that I mean this when I say this, and I mean this when I say this. Like, this is not okay.
I'm not
and, like,
making those assumptions.
People in your chat are doing this too, and they're, like, getting into my head and, like, assuming that I'm, like, doing all this, like, weird, like, shit, and it's like, what the fuck? I'm literally not.
Anna seems to have a bit of a problem with chat. This actually becomes kind of a major point of contention between these two. More than it honestly should have been. We're having a conversation right now. Why do you have your eyes glued to chat? Half the time it's just shit posting anyways, so why focus on the bullshit in chat when you have your friend right here, right now, expressing his problems with you, you dumb bitch? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Anna, and this might sound harsh, is a perpetual victim. Whenever somebody is to confront her with a genuinely irritating or negative thing that she's done, what does she do? Does she, A, listen to the person and take their points into consideration, B, comfort them and tell them that she'll try to do better in the future, or C, tell the person they're wrong and flip the problem onto something else? I'll give you a second to try and figure this one out. If you chose A or B, congratulations, you have a soul. Because the answer is actually C. In fact, it happened in the same conversation when she was fumbling her words. It was because chat was taking a big fat dookie shit on her face. When she got cornered, it's because Destiny's gaslighting her into believing she said something she didn't. When she couldn't think of a cohesive point, it's because she had to walk around eggshells to try and find the right words to say. She would do a slightly nervous giggle when under pressure. She would raise the pitch of her voice, a bit like a child, to try and seem like an innocent little soul. Everything was an excuse after a diversion tactic to her mental gymnastic. I'm not normally one to psychoanalyze someone on how they might change the pitch of their voice or take note of someone's nervous laughter when they're in deep shit, because half the time people in real life aren't these master manipulator types of people. No average person knows how to efficiently navigate their way out of a sticky situation. But that's the thing. Anna is not the average person. She knows very much what she's doing. In the earlier streams, she might have come off normal enough, but as the more streams went on, the way that she argued started to become a little more calculated. And this stream showcased that perfectly. There was no more, haha, I'm just a quirky nervous girl on stream, Now, the mask started to come off to reveal a more sinister side. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm actually the abuser. Maybe I'm a piece of shit. As the conversation came to an end, so did the hopes of trying to salvage whatever the fuck this conversation was. So for the sake of both of their sanities, they decided it was best to just end the conversation with, let's agree to disagree. A bit unsatisfying, but what else is there to do? For Destiny's side, he swam to the pits of hell to try to save this conversation. As for Anna, she ran so many circles to the point of exhaustion. There's nowhere to take this besides the trash bin. And as they bid their Discord farewells, Destiny took a bit of time to reflect on what happened.
I think you have to be really careful not to learn a certain thing and view the entire world through that lens. the pieces of information that you learn should be slaves to you, not your master, I guess. Because that's what I feel like what happens sometimes. Like when you acquire new information, what you're getting is you're getting a new way to view the world, a new way to gain perspective on things, which gives you new ways to solve problems, right? Everything that you acquire should be like a servant to you, right? A useful servant, but a bad master. Don't learn a new perspective, and that becomes like the way that you view the world, right? I think that like perspectives or ideas that you learn should be tools that you can take out of a toolbox, but not like bubbles that you step into that shade your view of the entire world, I guess is like what I would say.
Are you a good listener? Are you a good person? Do you take the time to sit down and try to understand somebody's perspective? I'm sure most of you answered yes to that question, and I wouldn't doubt it. Most people out there have some patience to deal with people. It's part of being a compassionate human being. And in all honesty, part of maintaining positive relations with the people around you in general. If you want to stay friends with good people and have them consistently in your life, you have to make some compromises and deal with some of their bullshit to truly have an everlasting friendship. Some people have a lot of patience, and those people have the utmost respect from me. But everybody, and I mean everybody, has their limits.
I live in a world of psychotic people, okay? I live in a world of psychotic people. You and me, okay? When you hear about psychotic people, they're on the TV screen in front of you. When I hear about psychotic people, they're in the TV screen with me. Okay? We're not the same, okay? We're not the same. We don't have the same experience. This was our, so we hung out for 3 or 4 days together. I don't remember. We hung out, we hooked up, we chilled. She was relatively normal in real life, believe it or not. This was our last conversation right before leaving, okay? I got a COVID test and everything was fine. And I said, no COVID-19. She said, whoa, GG. Also, I got home a bit ago, so you're bored and streaming. Aw, I smiley-faced. She smiley-faced. I said, okay, about to board my first flight. Thanks for the past few days, Kimmy. I had a lot of fun. Smiley-face. She said, I did too, Steven. Heart. Have safe flights. Talk to you later. The next day, okay, out of nowhere, she hits me with this big one.
In the beginning, Destiny and Anna's friendship was at a crossroad, a moment in which they had the ability to make a choice. Options they could take to either fix what was broken or destroy their relationship forever. However, the tide has now changed. A decision has already been made, and that choice was made by Anna. Their friendship had reached its final days, on the verge of crumbling down to the ground. And by now, we've reached the point of no return.
Oh boy, I'm pretty sad.
What's wrong?
It just kind of hit me today out of nowhere.
Vent to us.
I also feel angry at you because you made it sound like you're more poly and willing to date other people when talking to Alex.
Don't let him lie to you like that.
I just wish you would take more responsibility for your lifestyle choices that inflict emotional pain onto others. Because
that, sister.
No amount of communication can change the fact.
Oh my god.
It still hurts being treated as less important to you.
Fuck him.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
That, sister. Oh my god.
It just strikes me as so callous.
It's not okay.
To expect others to be fine with that. And the way that you've talked about people who've gotten hurt,
oh my god,
as if they were
it's not
such an annoyance.
It's not okay. Tell him, bitch.
Lacks any empathy.
Excuse me. There are pages and pages of DMs, literal walls of text, where Anna drones on about the supposed abuse that she's been suffering because of Destiny. It's actually crazy how much she keeps going. All the emotional trauma that's been inflicted, how narcissistic tendencies are tarnishing their friendship, and how Destiny doesn't even know what love is because poly people don't truly know how to love. I mean, she has a lot to say. Because narcissists are concerned with only their own happiness and gratification, they often disappear emotionally and physically after sex. I just don't want to be another girl to cater to your own desire for sex with different people because you feel bored of partners. The fact that you feel entitled to get sex from tons of different people but not have to meet their emotional needs, which are also sexual needs, is textbook narcissism. It all kind of makes you wonder, What the hell led up to this type of outburst? Nothing. It was nothing.
Hold on, wait, somebody says, dude, how did you not see this coming after these first messages? These are after we hooked up. Our messages, up until the point we hooked up, were totally fine. These were the messages, for those just joining, I'll repeat this one more time. These were the messages after the day that I left, right? Thanks for the past few days, Kimmy. I had a lot of fun, smiley face. I did too, Stephen Hart. Have safe flights. Talk to you later. These were the messages, like, totally. Yeah, and also to clarify, because a lot of people don't know this, okay? This woman is like 27, 28 years old, okay? Like, this person is not like, this isn't like an 18-year-old girl that's like losing their mind, okay?
Hey, I thought it was all over.
On October the 7th of 2020, a little over a month after these DMs were dated, Destiny and Anna both decided to have an on-stream conversation moderated by one of Destiny's friends, Dan. This stream was intended for them to find common ground with each other, to either resolve the issues they had going on, or realize that there might not be a way forward. No hostilities, no yelling at each other, simply a calm one-on-one chat, and especially after the constant Discord essays and, questionable stream moments.
Yeah, because we all know, you know, to be a good father, the best thing to do is to move like 1,000,000 miles away from your son and only see him. I'm gonna stop before someone clips that shit.
There was no better time than now to hash out everything.
Well, here we are, the final stage. How are you doing tonight, Anna?
Hi, Steven.
This conversation sparked after a series of attacks from both parties, and these attacks evolved into being the main topics discussed in the conversation. This over 2-hour-long discussion culminated into only one main talking point: boundaries. Boundaries are an important thing to set in a relationship, a friendship, or otherwise, but there are limitations. No person should feel the need to walk over eggshells because of the boundaries that a particular person has set, and no person should feel that someone's boundaries are causing them to walk on eggshells. However, this is what the resolution stream was about. A back and forth series of, hey, my boundaries are being broken. Well, your boundaries are too much for me to follow. It was almost like she was deliberately misinterpreting the point, and it almost reminds me of the conversation they had where they talked about their feelings. Her perspective on this actually raised so many questions for me. Does she actually believe this? Or does she not really believe this and is just trying to save face? But the more you watch it, and the more you start to examine the consistency in her behavior over the numerous streams she's made, you start to realize that there's no act going on here. She's not bullshitting at all. This is actually her.
Your feelings don't give you a free pass to attack me repeatedly behind the guise of I feel statements. You abuse the fuck out of your quote-unquote feelings in order to leverage them to attack me. Do you understand?
You can't
Yeah?
really. So, like, that's not how that... I'm a little confused because, like, if I feel a certain way, like, I mean, wouldn't you want to know?
Not all the time. So, for instance, one of our major disagreements is I don't care what opinions you have about any of my relationships, but you
Well, that's a different issue, I guess.
It's the same thing because you use a similar excuse saying, well, these are my feelings and I'm sharing them with you. And the feelings that you share with me are linking me articles telling me all the reasons why I'm a horrible person for the relationships that I have. But anytime I try to say, like, I don't want to hear about this, you say that I'm being abusive by denying your feelings. Do you understand how you're using your feelings there to just attack me?
I don't agree that it's attacking, no.
Okay.
Because I think that I have every right to express concerns over very concerning behavior.
Why do you... this behavior doesn't involve you whatsoever? You don't have all of the information or details of that behavior, and I'm definitely not soliciting your advice in regards to any of these things. Why do you think you have a right to express these incredibly generalized feelings about my incredibly personal relationships to me over and over and over again?
Because I thought that that's, like, what friends do. Like, is that not what friends do?
No.
Steven, we're friends. I have the right to say that your fiance is a narcissist, and so are you. And you need to listen to me, because if not, it's abusive. I hope you know that.
I know what some of you guys might be thinking. Who put the pussy in a coffin? Why is she making a big deal out of this? Or more specifically, why is she so invested in this? These topics sound like a very strange hill to die on. Well, the reason for this goes a little bit back, when their friendship was still on good standing. They originally started off as basic friends, of course, like all things do, and over the course of talking for a couple weeks, they grew relatively close. At some point, Destiny flew her out to hang for a bit and meet up in person, and Destiny, being in an open relationship, offered the idea of a hookup with no emotion to it. They would continue being friends afterwards, albeit with some sexual benefits here and there, if they both wanted to. She accepted, they hooked up, and eventually the trip ended. Fast forward some weeks later, and Destiny has to go on a flight to Sweden for some sponsorship business type thing. He DMs her saying that he'll talk to her later, and that he's had a lot of fun over the past couple weeks, and she says the same. However, what Destiny wasn't prepared for was the nuclear bomb of a DM that she sent. And now we're here. She even ends up crying in the stream, almost hysterically, and it's kind of really frustrating to watch, since she's indignantly shitting on his personal life. She also feels the need to make constant comments about how his significant other can't feel love, but the way that she says it is kind of out of line. Like there's being abrasive, and then there's just mean. Would any of you out there feel comfortable with a friend going out of their way to be like, yeah, you know this person who you're dating and you're in love with and you're living together with? Well, they actually have a personality disorder and they can never love you. Your wife exhibits traits of narcissism.
Not to mention the fact that you're asking me if I've noticed personal things about this person based on your like broad understanding of a diagnosis. Like you're literally asking me, how can you be close to somebody with that personality disorder? Honestly, I feel like maybe you don't really know what genuine emotional intimacy is. People with that personality disorder are incapable of maintaining emotional intimacy like all the personality disorders are. It makes sense that you two get along so well. That personality disorder is an extremely cold and detached personality. Haven't you noticed these things? Like, holy shit, dude. This is like the meanest type of shit that you can do to somebody. This is supposed to be a conversation with a friend, and this is what you're saying to me. Like,
Steven, that was also when we were fighting and you were being incredibly abusive. Do you not remember this?
Needless to say, the stream goes on for a very long time. So long that I could make a separate video for it, but I'm not going to, because I have a life. And the conclusion of the stream was not much better, despite ending on good terms. The good terms meaning that they both mutually agreed to never interact with each other ever again. This agreement lasted all but a couple hours, to which Anna decides to tweet incessantly and make stream after stream, explaining to her audience how much she was abused in that conversation. After a bunch of behind-the-scenes DMs and Twitter rants, a second conversation was held with a friend of Anna's this time, named Drew. And long story short, that conversation also ended in an agreement to never speak to each other ever again. And in this agreement, some measures were taken to try and make it last. Anna agreed to never talk about Destiny on her stream, on her Twitter, and pretty much anywhere publicly on any of her socials. And Destiny did the same, plus prohibiting any conversation about her in his chat and subreddit. So problem solved. They never talked to each other ever again. Momentarily. Behind the scenes, conversations were still continuing with these two. And by conversations, I mean Anna expressing her dissatisfaction with how the public is perceiving her, and Destiny leaving her on red 95% of the time. Jesus Christ. It's like he's a sitcom hero for some psycho-anime rom-com. But in the few times that Destiny replies back to her, he decides to suggest, why not go on other people's streams? You get new people to see you and more opportunities for connections and to put this stuff behind you. However, there was one minor problem with that. Not the fact that she took the advice, but more so how she took it. Instead of reaching out to random up-and-coming streamers to collaborate with, she decided to reach out to streamers that were already in her community, the same community that Destiny introduced her to. She reached out to streamer friends of Destiny, like Aristocracy, but more importantly, panel hosts. What's panel host? Pretty much people who bring in a fuck ton of streamers to talk about an array of topics. Now, what's so wrong about that? This sounds like the perfect chance for Anna to clear her rep, now with so many new people to make a different and better impression on. Unfortunately though, some people just never learn. Destiny got word from friends he knew that she was talking to them about how he abused her, and that she's going around on panel shows secretly throwing pot shots at him, without directly mentioning him. However, this didn't immediately set Destiny off, and while it was very annoying to have someone quietly break their truce, if he were to openly go against her, the little jabs would turn back into the same sucker punches he was enduring before. And honestly, I can't blame the guy for being exhausted from it all. So why not let her be? I mean, she can't get worse if he treats her nicely, right? And so, he felt the best course of action wasn't to be hands-on this time. Instead, he decided to take a step back from it. In doing so, he reopened pretty friendly conversations with her as a way to maintain some sort of friendship. and also was friendly enough with her to get some benefits from it. Not the best choice, but not my life.
This is your world of shit show that you have going on there, okay? You push her away, and then you keep messaging her. Because you're delusional. You're insane, okay? Just, that's on you.
Wait, he hasn't messaged her in a long time, right?
No, according to Anna, they're talking all the time right now. Why don't you clarify, Steve?
Listen, I messaged Anna to make peace, because you guys are insane, okay? So right now...
Just to make peace, Copium.
Oh, yeah, it's us. Okay. We don't... No, fuck that. I stand up for DGG chat when you fucking lie.
Base.
He even said shit. She just fucking
No,
goes
Dan,
insane.
here's what happened.
And then...
Dan, here's what happened. Everything was finally starting to go quiet, and then she showed up in chat, and you lost your fucking mind. And you we banned her. You banned her and everything, and then you started talking about her again. And then you know what she did? Dan, yes, you did, Dan. And then you know what happened? Dan, you know what happened? Then she started messaging every fucking person that I do fucking shows with. I can't have somebody. Do you know how weird it is when somebody messages me like, "Hey, so this girl says that you're this dark triad abusive person that's this horrible person. Can you explain this?" Do you know how fucking awkward that is, Dan?
So
I need all of you guys to just chill. Okay.
Okay, yeah. How should we chill more than saying fucking nothing?
Everybody watched in chat, Dan, when you were trying so hard to get onto that Prime K's panel that fucking Anna was on just so you could fight with her. Are you serious right now?
That was months ago. Hello?
Yeah, and that's all she needs to charge her batteries, okay, for years at a time.
On September 22nd, 2021, John Zerka, a panelist who was well known around the community for being a bit of a provocateur, decided to host a show with a bunch of people, as he normally does. One of the guests who happened to be on the show that day was Anna, along with a whole slew of guests to stir the pot and talk to each other. Many of the original VODs of the stream have since been deleted as a supposed request of Anna, and in all honesty, I can see why. There are still uploads of this that have been found online, and they make her look just bad. It starts off normal, just like any other panel show would. Audiences interacting with chat, people having fun, and overall a pretty chill, entertaining vibe. But here and there are these little weird comments that Anna makes in response to people talking, at random too. For example, let's just say that someone was talking about an embarrassing or negative experience that they went through. Anna will feel the need to interject and say something like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry that happened to you. It kind of reminds me of something I went through not too long ago." It's really awkward for everybody else because they know what she's trying to do and who she's talking about. She's not subtle at all and feels the need to make it very clear to everyone that she went through abuse and will not be silenced. Well, when I say awkward for everybody, I mean everybody but Zerka. Keep in mind that this is not the first time he's brought Anna onto one of his shows, and it's not the first time she's sub-mentioned Destiny on his show either. Don't be confused by his facial expressions and reactions to when she goes crazy, because every time she does, 2 big dollar signs appear in his head and tell him, "Cha-ching, keep this going." Anna is a person that cannot be satisfied by cheap shit talk. She can never be content with simply vaguely mentioning someone on a stream, not because it genuinely hurts her, but because she could not for a second have the attention off of her. The reason I say this is the same reason why I mentioned this stream at all. Since the very first truce was made between Anna and Destiny, it was broken within a matter of several hours, and every time a follow-up one was made afterwards, they have all followed the same trend. From silence to vague posting, to vague mentioning, and finally directly attacking. Because Anna is never satisfied, and it ruins the opportunity for this stream to be normal. Eventually, it suddenly derails at the latter half of it, and devolves from a normal conversation into another episode about how much she's been abused.
I got a $10 donation from Very DGG. Says, hypothetically, how much monthly would it take to block Anna? What's Anna's price to block her from the show?
Oh my
What
god.
should I ask?
I don't think they like hearing the truth. Okay, can I please elaborate on my point that just because there is consent doesn't mean that people can't get hurt within relationships?
Oh, you're
okay?
absolutely true about that. Like, absolutely right.
That's why we still need to be responsible and considerate.
Wait, Anna, what about always there?
And being empathetic and caring about the emotional concern of our sexual partner.
Anna, have you ever heard
You
of
did
the-
diagnose an entire
Anna.
community, so.
I didn't diagnose them. I said that they were sociopathic, which they are. Their behaviors are. They literally laugh at people who cry. They literally laugh at people who cry and are in emotional distress. And that's not normal.
I get that.
And that's not normal. That's not normal. That's not normal at all. Stardust, why are you defending DGG? Why? Why are you defending people who are defend abusers? Why?
One sec. At this point, I'd imagine anyone in this situation would be pretty annoyed. You get into a fight with someone and it lasts for over a year. You make agreements to never talk to each other ever again, but they're broken. You go out of your way to ignore this person, but it just results in them trying to contact you more. You directly combat them and try to get them to understand that they're wrong, or at the very least see your side. But they walk away from the conversation still thinking the exact same thing they did before. And you finally try to be friendly with this person to calm them down, but they then decide to mention you anyways, without directly saying your name. What more can you possibly do to remedy this type of person? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is a lose-lose scenario. The only thing you can do now is sit back and watch the fire burn harder. Or you can take another route, one that won't necessarily result in resolution, but will definitely result in satisfaction. Argue with them. But it didn't work before. It doesn't matter. At this point, you don't even have to argue to fix their behavior. You can just argue to blow off some steam. And who can blame you? To an outsider, you might seem like an insensitive asshole who's leading on this poor defenseless girl. But to everyone else, this person is fucking insane.
Big D, what's up?
Eventually, Destiny decides to join the stream. And what more could he do, to be honest? There's a certain threshold to how much shit someone is willing to take, and it changes with every person. But constantly repeating lies that get progressively worse and worse would set anybody off. This whole stream is a wild roller coaster to watch, and I think it's safe to say that everything that goes on here speaks for itself.
No one in here has any idea what the full extent of the situation is, okay?
Tell us, dude, tell us.
Dude, it would take so long to even go through all of this,
Because it's been like a year.
Anna, hold on, Destiny, you'll relax, Destiny. Anna, you did.
Can I explain my side?
Hold on,
Destiny. A woman crying
Steven, you're not being nice.
Serial rapist.
Okay, you're not being nice though. You're being really mean though.
Anna, every time
why are you not being nice to me? Because, like, I'm upset because you hurt me. How is that, like...
I mean, why don't I have these problems with anyone else? I don't have these problems with anyone else, though.
Anna, you absolutely have these problems with other people, okay? Number one.
Who? What do you mean, these problems? What problems?
And
what did I do? What did I do? I didn't do anything except want to be treated with empathy.
Yep, let me know when you're done. Okay.
Stop acting like this, Steven. You're weaponizing your callousness.
Okay.
You're literally weaponizing it.
All right, I love you, John. Listen, you drag me back in if you want to mute her, okay? Because I'm not gonna sit here and have her like
just
fucking
talk.
over me. Like,
Anna, we're gonna.
over and over and over again.
I'm muting a crying girl. I'm muting. There goes my check mark.
Thank you. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. All I want is to not have any contact going forward. But I've tried this in the past and it doesn't work. Now, ordinarily.
What do you mean? That's bullshit.
John, you gotta mute her. John, please 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 mute her.
Silence.
John,
silence.
Holy
I muted her.
okay.
Yeah, I got her.
The problem is that with other large online figures that I deal with that get into weird fucking shit or try to fuck with me, usually there's a limit where they'll stop. Because they have online reputations, because they've got sponsorships, because they've got other friend groups, they have something to lose, okay? Anna is the only person that I have ever had this type of back and forth with who has absolutely nothing to lose. She will go for months or years on Twitter, on stream, on Discord, talking to other people, and she will never stop. She's like the T-1000 Terminator. She will never, ever stop. Third parties have agreed. You guys should stop talking. Stop talking privately. And I have. And I've tried to block her. And when I block her on Discord, she messages me on Instagram. And when I block her on Instagram, she messages me on Twitter. And when I ignore her on Twitter, she subtweets about me. And then when she subtweets about me and I ignore that, then she goes on these Discord shows where you're enabling her, where she's talking to all my fucking friends now. I'm getting DMs from people that I didn't even know she knew. Like, hey, do you know this Anna person? Like, she talks to me a lot and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know that she had any idea who the fuck you were, right? Every single time I picked up my phone, I had like 10 more huge messages from you.
It wasn't 10.
Really?
Because I wanted
Anna?
to talk to you. Like, I
You-
had
you
a
didn't-
lot of things to say. I was trying to explain my feelings to you and
You
stuff
can
that you
say-
didn't
you
seem to
can explain- you can
understand.
say-
Can I please just let me talk? Please
Get that.
stop. I was just scared. I was scared because you were leaking my DMs. Why can't you understand that? Please, why can't you just have empathy?
Anna,
What was I
this is
supposed
why-
to do to defend myself,
Anna,
though,
you
Steven?
are
Remember,
lying.
that's why
Anna,
I'm
you
not
are
lying. I'm not
Anna.
lying. Please stop. I was upset.
Anna.
Even my friends know I was upset. I
Anna.
was scared. Please
Anna.
stop.
Anna,
I was upset.
how could you have messaged me out of
Please.
how could you have messaged me out of fear for leaking DMs when the only DMs I leaked were the ones you told me you messaged me out of DMs? It doesn't make any sense.
Because it was scary, Steven. You had promised me that you would never leak DMs, and then you did, and you were calling me crazy and stuff, Steven. And I was just really upset.
Steven, you got DGG.
What am I
brigading.
supposed to do? How am I supposed to defend myself?
Alright, hold on. Steven, you've got DGG brigading in chat saying things like cry whore. You need a ban.
Yeah, that's bad. Ban them. Tell me their names and ban them. If people are doing it.
Please stop! He's not telling the context! He's not
my
telling the
God.
context! I was scared, please stop telling me that I didn't feel that way, Steven. I did. That's how I defend myself. That's how I do it. I try and make peace with the person because you were so angry at me.
Anna, let's make
And I wasn't trying. It's not out of stock anymore.
Anna, let's make peace.
Why do you say these things publicly,
Okay,
Steven?
you should look at you. I don't know.
Anna, I think you should make peace
Why
with Steven.
do you say these things different things publicly, Steven, privately? Why didn't you say you wanted to talk to me, Steven? Why do you act like you didn't? Stop acting like that. Why would you sext me then constantly for months if you didn't want to talk to me? Why would you call me princess a month ago? You just not care. I thought you understood me.
You guys need to have an offline
I just
call
want
for
to
it.
fucking die.
Why don't you guys
I
have
just
an
want to
offline
die.
call right now?
I can't take it.
Anna,
Why does he lie? I'm telling the truth, please.
Steven, you're gonna call her offline. I can join the call if you guys need, and then you guys can have one last talk.
This is genuinely one of the most disheartening things to watch. As much as we like to ridicule Anna for her dishonest behavior and all the things she says, I can't help but feel sorry for her, but not exactly for the reasons that you might believe. It's easy to sit back and watch the stream, get super irritated, and walk away thinking this person's a liar. But after this stream, I started to shift a little bit. I still can't take anything that she says really seriously at all. But what I can do, and what I will do, is take her mental health seriously. Maybe I'm falling for her trap exactly how she wants me to. But when I look at her after this, I just see an incredibly broken person. Someone who is very mentally ill, and having a spiral into insanity. She says she's had multiple relations with different men prior to Destiny, and I'm really curious how they fared. Believe me when I say that I don't have the prerequisite knowledge, nor the current education, to make a claim about someone's psychological well-being. But I will speculate. When you dive into this from the very beginning of the story, most people see it as a plea for attention, a yearn for 15 minutes of fame to boost them up enough for success, or just to ruin someone. But as you look into this more, the goals for her actions start to become a little more visible. Yes, this is all for attention, but the end goal isn't for any type of fame. I think that this person has been deprived of attention for most of their life. Maybe when growing up, or maybe a certain toxic relationship they had prior has geared them to be so receptive of any form of disregard. The only problem now is that she's no longer lashing out from the comfort of her private life. Now, the details of her relationship are on full blast for thousands of people to watch, critique, and ridicule. As the time went on, her defense was on high alert, and she began to loop a lot of the arguments in her head, since thousands of people online were telling her that everything that she thought was right is actually wrong. And this started a spiral that she would never recover from. A spiral that turned into a sinkhole, that turned into an inescapable black hole of insanity. It's not insane or crazy to want to defend yourself from a barrage of people, but it is insane to do the same thing over and over again and expect things to change. I don't believe her for a second, and I'm not going to sit here and defend her for the actions that she chose to make. But what I will do is look at this situation with a little bit of clarity and charitability, instead of someone who was born online. She is at a point of almost no return, and given her current trajectory, I don't think she's ever going to come out of it. Not with people going out of their way to berate her, and not with people blindly siding with her either, but definitely not with people egging her on for views on a show.
Did you just admit live you pump and dump mentally ill people?
Okay, I didn't know that she was borderline when I
You're
first
so
met her.
shit at this, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
Not even a day after this stream aired, Zerka decides to delete the VOD, and somehow manages to also convince everybody else who was recording the stream to also take them down. Well, everybody, except for Stardust. Zerka claimed that he did this because Anna had asked everybody else to take down their VODs, and to the ignorant, it sounds believable. It makes sense that someone who had a breakdown on stream wouldn't want to have it on full display for all to see, but there are little details here and there that just don't make any sense. For one, why is Zerka so invested in trying to help Anna to get these streams taken down? Anna didn't make any noticeable public statements that she wanted the VODs down, so why is Zerka, of all people, white knighting for her? Because he cares so much about her feelings? Or is it maybe, just maybe, that he realized that he towed the line way too far in milking the tears out of a mentally ill woman? A couple hours after the panel show, Zerka was on his stream with Haas, or Infrared as he's better known, the CCP suck-up who cried on stream after being called a virgin. For those who need a bit more clarification, Infrared was one of the other panelists on the Zerka show, and this after-show stream he participated in was where things really got interesting. After finding out that Stardust didn't delete her VOD, Zerka's brain fried. The night prior was a shit show, and a guy like Zerka can only be so openly view-hungry. You can be a clout shark when someone gets hysterical on stream. You can be a clout shark when someone starts crying on stream. But you can't be a clout shark when someone says they want to end their own life because of the actions that happened on your stream. So after he finds out there's something out there that could ruin his already poor reputation, Zerka does the only thing that he can do. And that is to scream like a monkey at any valid criticism he gets. Zerka banned Stardust from ever using his content on her stream. And in response, Destiny banned Zerka from ever using his content on his stream.
Funny, very funny.
Yeah, Stardust, I don't give you permission to restream and watch me, okay? You will get banned if you're here. Okay, I had no idea you're farming me.
Damn.
Oh, true. Actually, thank you. Oh my god. I'm about to end a career on Twitch right now. You're absolutely right. Okay. Ayo, just FYI, I don't give you permission to restream or rebroadcast any of my content anymore. If you do, I'm going to report. Good luck. Thank you for the idea. Okay, Zerka can go find somebody else's fucking life to farm. Holy shit.
And in the middle of all this, a shitstorm was brewing in Zerka's head, and soon it would be unleashed for all to see.
Panel where Anna was a regular guest on the fucking panel, and she decided to say what she wanted to say, so whatever, that's his fucking show.
So weird, bro.
It truly was.
You know what's funny is, yo, Destiny, yeah, she was crying. She was crying. She was crying, Steven. She was crying on a Zerka show. She was crying after she cried. Oh God, would you do that to an autistic person?
After the Stardust debate, and Destiny forbidding him from using his content on stream, poor little Zerka decides the best thing to do as of now is to hop on a stream with him. Relevant, another streamer who made a stand against Zerka, was talking to Destiny about the situation, after reviewing it himself on his stream. He takes the opportunity to give some pretext to the situation, and fills everyone in on the events that were carried out on the Zerka stream. Keep in mind that these series of events are happening over the course of only a couple days. Everyone's blood is still pumping to the max, and Zerka and his beefy lapdog are ready to start pumping up the viewers with yet another fight. Because at this point, he's already convinced his audience of the lie that he gave them, and anybody who was able to sniff it out is never going to take his side. So instead of coming up with anything valuable to say, he just screams like a fucking ape. To protect Anna, of course, because this is what she wants.
Zerka, you are the most dishonest piece of shit in the world if you cannot admit that you were farming the fuck out of a borderline woman for content on stream. You have over 3K viewers.
Yeah, let me answer you. Are you saying she has mental health issues?
Yeah, it seems like it, yeah.
Okay, all right, hold on. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
So you own that. You own that, right?
Damn, I
She has
wonder
mental
how
health issues?
okay.
Yeah.
Will
Did
say
you
about
did you
this
just
one.
admit live you pump and dump mentally ill people?
Zerka, I didn't know that she was borderline when I
You're
first
so
met her.
shit at this,
Zerka,
bro. Get the
Zerka,
fuck out of here.
Zerka.
You think I know who Anna is, that she has issues? You think I know that stuff? Are you mad? Bro, here's hold on. Stop. Hold on. Steven, dude, I'm not trying to
His DM
I'm not
believes
hurting your
that
reputation. I'm saying
Zerka
fact, dude.
believes it.
It's not about you. Relax.
Bro, let Melina in. Does she want in?
You're actually embarrassing. Look how you protect your pump and dump schemes, bro.
Zerka, easy yes or no. Zerka, easy yes or no
Wait,
question.
hold on.
Did you know
I answered you. Let me say something. I just answered you. Let me say something.
Did you know who Anna was before she came onto your streams?
Do you think I knew she was bipolar? You stupid
No,
idiot.
I didn't ask you that. First of all, she's not bipolar. That wasn't the question.
Well,
My question
here's
was,
all I knew.
Did you know who Anna was? Did you know who Anna was before she started coming on your streams a few weeks ago?
There
you go.
Yes, because when she reached out, the first thing I said is avoid Destiny talk. You can ask her. For weeks she didn't talk about you. When she randomly blew up because you pumped and dumped her, what the fuck am I gonna do? You fucking moron! It's your cock, not mine.
Anything that we've
It's
done.
your cock, Steven. It's your cock. Take responsibility of your cock, bro. Take responsibility of your cock. Take responsibility of your cock. Take responsibility of it.
Mentally ill women, Zerka.
And all in all, that's it. This is the end of the story. There are little tidbits of information, follow-ups, and side topics to the story, but nothing that offers a satisfying conclusion. I went into this topic thinking I was going to despise Anna with all my heart, especially since I was coming at this from a simple viewer's perspective. But what I came out with was a whole lot more depressing. Anna is a mentally ill person, possibly suffering from borderline personality disorder. Who knows? At the very least, she has some manners of behavior which hinder her ability to function in normal society. She says that she's been speaking to a therapist, but I don't really know if I believe that. She might. Who knows? Maybe she's only like this online, but while I would like to think that, it just seems very implausible. No human being could develop this level of psychosis in such a short period of time. And given her track record of burning bridges, I don't doubt that this will affect her life for years to come, and almost definitely has affected her for years prior. As of recently, she's moved on to having a VTuber avatar, because this situation has caused her so much stress that she's begun to lose hair. And within the year interval of time from her last stream with Destiny and now, there have only been minor things that have happened. She made a friendship with this strange 40-year-old man named Merle. She had another scuffle with Destiny, this time moderated by Dylan Burns, and she proceeded to burn even more bridges than ever possibly conceived in human existence. She has no supporters, no people willing to hear her out on what she says, and it's a hard truth to face, but everything that has happened to her in the last 3 years have been a result of her own doing. She has dug her own grave, and she has burned herself to the point of no return. See, there's a staunch difference to be seen between Anna and Destiny. Destiny knows when to stop. He knows when to make peace. And not to suck his flaccid wiener, but almost everybody who fought with him over this situation in the last 2 years, he's recovered with. Him and Zerka were back to being cool with each other and on stream together not too long after this. But Anna doesn't have that will. She doesn't want help, and she's content writing this out for the rest of her life. She will throw away her entire life and the well-being of herself to the bitter end if it means that she can get back at Destiny. And at this point in her life, there's nothing anyone can truly say to get her out of it, except for her. She still to this day makes the occasional stream about Destiny, talking about abuse, talking about the suffering, talking about her pain, and nobody's watching. But it seems like there's been a truce between these two, and it's lasted quite a while so far, but who knows how long that's gonna last. So Anna, if you're watching this for whatever reason, I want you to understand this. You need to walk away from all of this. And by all of this, I mean the internet. Twitch is not your profession. You don't have to keep streaming. But if you still want to, stop what you're doing. The record has been set by you so many times. We understand your side of the story. You're at a crossroad right now, and nothing will change this unless you take the steps to change. Oh my god, he finally uploaded.